As music teachers, we spend a lot of time in a seated position or maybe a standing position, but whatever that position is, it's normally stationary. So you're there for hours on end teaching lessons, and by the end of the day, sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes things feel a little creaky and, movement is not that great and you might find yourself feeling sore. Maybe you've got tension in your hands or in your shoulders or like me right now in my hip. And as time goes on, sometimes those tensions build. So the topic of the day is we are going to be discussing avoiding pain in the music studio with a really cool friend of mine. She's from New Zealand, so hence the different broadcast time today. I'm so excited that she's decided to join us. So if you are here live with us, please let us know here in the comments where you're tuning in from and if you've ever experienced pain due to being a music teacher. And we're not talking about the pain because clients didn't pay you on time, but actual physical pain. So if you've ever experienced that, let us know. And we're about to get started here, but let me just do a couple little housekeeping items here. If you're new, I just want to say welcome to the broadcast. We love to learn out loud here. So if you find something in the broadcast that is interesting to you, give us a hashtag takeaway and drop that below and let us know what that interesting thing is, because it's so wonderful when we get to learn from each other in these broadcasts. And I have something set up with the Savvy Sara bot. So if you drop, oh, that's not the right word, but we can fix it right now. If you drop the word Ruth below, you're going to be able to get a hold of all of the good stuff that we're going to be sending you today, because we've got lots of really cool freebies. So drop a word Ruth below if you want to get a hold of that. And before we get started, let's do a little fancy song. All right, so as I said, the topic today is avoiding physical pain in the music studio. And the guest that we have today, her name is Ruth Power. She's absolutely amazing. Before I bring her on, let me introduce myself real quick. If you're new here, my name is Sara Campbell. I am a business strategist, mindset, and marketing coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like yourself. And we go live here every Wednesday at noon Eastern Time, except when we go live here on Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, because we've got an awesome guest from New Zealand. Let's bring her in. Hello, Ruth.
Hello. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here.
When we got this crazy idea, I think over the weekend to do this, I was like, oh, I have to jump on this because it's always fun to do broadcasts with you, and I just love seeing what you're putting out into the universe. So why don't you introduce yourself to the audience here, since I neglected to do that? Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ruth.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm firstly just really excited to make it for your live, because I never get to catch them live. I always watch the replay. So
Well,
here.
I think the lives would be at 1 a.m. your time.
Yeah, I'm sadly not that committed, but yeah. My name's Ruth Power. I'm from New Zealand, as you said, and I run an online piano school called pianopicnic.com, where I teach the creative skills of playing the piano specifically, because I felt that there was a sort of a gap in that part of education, where I teach things like playing by ear, playing from a lead sheet, improvising, all this sort of fun stuff, songwriting, yeah.
All the stuff that I wish that I had learned as a kid and I didn't even know about until college, and certainly really didn't get into until after college. So I think it's amazing that you're doing that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was just the stuff that I rebelled with when I was a teenager, and that did not do the things my piano teachers taught me. And so now that's become my career. So that's fun.
Oh, it's super fun. So I invited you here today because you're doing a really interesting project right now, and I've been following you on Instagram, and I love seeing your posts, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in a second. But when I started to realize the project that you had coming up, I was really intrigued because I think that pain is something that we don't talk about a lot. As music teachers and as pianists, so performers too. And what was fascinating is I posed a question on my Facebook page yesterday about who here has experienced physical pain, and there were so many teachers who said yes.
Yeah, man, I that encouraged me as well because I mostly am communicating with students on my end, and so I have students who are adults essentially because they're all able to learn online, and so they have had problems with pain. But I was excited to see, well, not excited because that's the wrong word,
Right.
but I guess relieved to see that a lot of the music teachers on your page had the same thing. I it was something I struggled to admit because I knew that it was because my technique wasn't perfect. So there was an element of shame for me to admit that I had pain, postural problems because of my bad habits at the piano. Comes from being a bit rock and roll. But that I had to find a solution for myself because it had become something that I ignored for years. And then just with starting an online business was also something that brought on that pain even more because I'm doing, long hours at the computer as well as the piano. And it just all builds up over time.
Oh yeah, certainly. And I'm glad that you mentioned like the computer time too, because, especially nowadays when so many of us are teaching online, in addition to being seated at the piano, we are like kind of stuck in that seat, not like it used to be, you really are kind of stationary more often than we were when we were teaching in person. And so, and then you're like balancing all these things, you got the computer way up high and you got like the mouse in weird places. So it's quite odd. But before we get into, what we're talking about today, I just wanted to pose a question to the teachers here. Have you experienced pain, as a result of playing or as a result of the way that you teach? And if so, I'd like you to let us know. I think that it all comes down to what you just said, Ruth. Like there's this, I think the word that you used was shame, right? There's this shame and stigma around if you are in pain as a music teacher, then you are doing something wrong. And then that means that your technique is not good. And why are you a teacher?
Yeah.
I mean, it really like layers, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
It does.
For sure. And I think for me, because I am teaching sort of the creative skills, the sort of alternative things, I didn't want to admit it to myself because there was also, as everyone has a little bit of imposter syndrome. So it's all kind of mixed up into that as well. And it's just awful. As soon as I started doing yoga, and it was just giving me somewhere where I was in a room with other people, all ages, my age, older, younger, who all had pain in their bodies, and I was like, these are my people.
Yeah, like we feel this like sense of relief and camaraderie when we can find out that there are other people in our sphere that also experience pain. I know that as I was reading through Answers of Teachers yesterday, I was like, wow, I am not alone in this. And it felt really good. So I think the first step in this is being able to admit my body doesn't feel good. And to like accept that and to know that it's not your fault. And that there are things that you can do about it. I see some people are actually commenting about this, so let's check in for a second. Before we do that, like I do want to let you guys know, Ruth has 3 things that she's going to be teaching us here today, and these 3 things are a great first step into unraveling the pain that you might experience from playing piano or actually other instruments as well. So, Elizabeth says that. Oh yes, it does layer and it resonates here. Brenda says carpal tunnel, small hands, short fingers. The big stretches kind of kill me. I understand. I have given up playing parallel octaves in both hands at the same time because I just don't want to. And Carrie says like neck pain. It could be playing or teaching. Could be genetic too. Those are all these kinds of things that kind of come into play. And then Carol says, yeah, she's got some back pain. Ruth, for me, like I'll tell a quick story before we get into your 3 points here. I had a mysterious pain that was happening that I went after like with doctors for almost a year. I had a pain that started up in the back of my shoulder, resonated down through my elbow, and then went down into my hands. And it would get to the point where I would cry at night because I couldn't sleep. And I was wearing a brace. I had to get those they had me do those. It's like they put pins in you and then they like shock you and stuff, trying to test my nerves. They never figured out what it was. And it wasn't until, right? So,
Yeah.
they never figured out what it was. And what was really interesting, it wasn't until I considered the ergonomics of my office and how I was playing the piano. And it was so interesting to me because the pain started about the same time that shortly after I bought a grand piano. Interesting, right?
Whoa.
So, yeah. So I feel you on the pain thing, and I'm excited because one of the things that we are going to be talking about today is yoga. And coincidentally, I just did yoga before our meeting.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, we're yoga twins.
Yeah. It's just been so good, I think. And it's only through I decided to do this course because it was something that I just found useful for myself, and I always think that's the best thing to try and, as teachers, as music teachers, we're trying to share the things that have had such an impact on our life, and we want other people to have them. So that's the only reason that I'm doing this course, is because I just wanted to make sure that everyone else knew about this thing, and also find a way to make it specialized to not just the sitting all day, but the reaching forward that we do on the piano, the wrists, the fingers, all of that stuff. Yeah.
I think you bring up a great point that one of the best ways to figure out what can I teach is like, well, what do I want to learn? And what do I want to invest time in? So you've got three tips for us today that should help some of the teachers here who are experiencing pain, and we're going to go through them one by one, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some things that are coming up for you, which are really, really exciting. So teachers, if you are here and you are enjoying this so far, please show us a little love, give us some hearts, give us some thumbs up. It's always fun because it comes across the screen as like this little confetti show. So let's bring on the tips. Here we go. Tip number one.
Tip number one was to check in with your breath, right?
Yeah.
This is something, I mean, we all breathe all day. Obviously, we all know how to do this. But it's one of the first principles of doing yoga is that you are breathing with control. And it's something that has allowed me to, every time I realize that I haven't taken a deep breath in a while, like if I'm stressed out or I'm in deep focus on my computer or deep focus playing or whatever it is, you just go about your day and you're just doing the essential breathing that you need to do. Whereas if we can just take a moment whenever we can remember, in the beginning, probably set an alarm to just take a deep, slow breath. And as I do this, I normally tense up my shoulders. And then as I breathe out, just letting it go. And I know it's really simple. But for me, it's helped because I particularly I tense my shoulders up. They start crawling up towards the ears throughout the day. And so I just have to let those down and back. And it's something I just do generally in my day, but in particular, like, before a internet conversation like today, or before I do a coaching session, in front of a lot of people, anything like that, I take a few deep breaths. and it helps with things like nerves and performance as well. So, but it's also one of the primary foundations of getting into your yoga moves. So that's my first tip, is to check in with your breath.
I love this because breathing is something that we don't think of as contributing to pain. But what happens is, like, as the muscles start to tense, like a little bit at a time, and like it builds the layers, like we keep coming back to the idea of layers, it starts to restrict our breathing. And that can even be like if you're experiencing hand pain or wrist pain, if you're getting really tense down there, my guess is that your breathing has started to shift.
Yeah, shallow breathing. Yeah,
that shallow breathing kind of kicks in, and as soon as we get into that, then other things start to layer on top. So, oh yes, I see a great comment here from Motif Music Studios. Thanks for tuning in. Breath is so foundational, and it's also very regulating and telling our brains that all is well. Yeah,
yeah, and so huge for even for students sitting at the piano, and I see this all the time when people get so worked up about things, and we put so much pressure on ourselves to get that passage that we're not getting or whatever it is. If we can breathe, just take a breath and just realize, in that moment that everything is okay. It doesn't matter. We play already wonderfully, the amount of skill that we have. If we can get to the next level, then that's a great bonus. But in this moment, I am fine, and I can play the piano pretty well, no matter what level you're at.
That reminds me of some students that I have who like you just said, like they're working on a passage and like they're in that lesson and they keep doing it over and over again. You can literally see the frustration and tension building in their bodies because those shoulders start doing this. And then no matter what instrument you're on, or you're a vocalist too, like that, doing the repetitions, and if you're not getting it right, it gets frustrating. I've always found it really helpful to take a step back for a second and like to tell my student, okay, let's take a break for a second, and we're going to close our eyes and we're going to take 3 deep breaths. And wouldn't you know it, 9 times out of 10, the next repetition, they nail it.
Yeah, so much.
It's just that time to breathe and to tell your body and brain that it's all right. I love that. So checking in with your breath on the regular, like throughout the day, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and getting into that habit, the more you remember. I've done it probably about 4 times during this interview already. I've just realized that I hadn't breathed properly in a while, and I've just gone, I'm fine. It's good.
This is all good. Isn't she doing fabulous, folks? If you think that Ruth is doing fabulous, please tell her below in the comments and I will bring them up. I already see Brenda is saying that is so helpful. Diana Swenson says that is so good. We don't think of breathing as something that can help us work through or to unwrap and unravel pain. But it's essential, right? So that's step number 1. Are we ready for step number 2?
Let's go step number 2.
Step number 2. Okay, here we go. A little shoulder dance. Here we go.
I love a shoulder dance. So this is practicing mindful movement. And so this is just the next step on from mindful breathing, essentially. Breathing on purpose is moving on purpose. Just thinking about what we're doing a bit more, because I don't know about you guys if you've ever done this, but I found that as I get older and I do less varied movement, I don't, when you're younger in school, you have to do this sport this day and this sport that day. And now that I'm older, I have the things that I do to exercise, and I don't really break out of that routine that often. And then all of a sudden, when you move in a different way, something goes and you're like, okay. And there's pain, and that's happening because we're doing something differently and we're not sort of thinking about it. We've moved in a way that we don't normally move. So it's just about, whenever we can, just being a bit conscious in the way that when you move. I know that at the piano we can play, if we're not practicing something specific and we're just playing for free time, we sort of get lost in the moment, and then we're sort of just moving around? What if we became a bit more conscious with that movement as we're doing it? It's just being aware. And I have a little exercise that I came across the other day. Actually, this is a recent one for me, but it was just so impactful, because I think posture wise, when we have quite often, this is what I'm doing.
A little like that rounded back. Yeah.
The little crane and craning the head forward. And when we do that, if there's one of those movements that if you try and do, you'll probably hurt something, is having the head forward and moving the head around. Don't try that, because it's not good. So what the exercise is I put first we just sit up straight and move our head to the side, to the right, and we're moving as we're breathing out. So breathing out to the right, and just notice how far your head goes. Breathe in, back to the middle. Breathe out to the left. Notice,
guys, you better be doing this with us at home.
Yeah. And then breathe back into the middle. Now, so you would have noticed how far your head went when you did that. Up-leveling that is to get our fingers and just put them in our rib cage here, in the middle of your rib cage. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to do the same thing, but we're actually going to pull our rib cage and then turn our head. Ah. And you'll notice that your head goes so much further when you move your rib cage as well. You can almost see behind you. It's almost the creepy turning head thing. So that's become a thing for me, is particularly because the shoulder neck area, just being a bit more mindful when I'm looking this way or looking that way for anything. I try and think that it comes from this core area, and we can actually use our whole body. Mm-hmm. That's just one example of being a bit more mindful with using our whole body instead of just going, what? With our head.
Oh, I think that's fascinating. I love that exercise. That's really interesting. I'm gonna keep that in mind, especially, because I mentioned earlier, like many of us are still teaching online. I have some in person, and then I have some who have decided to stay online. And, being I'm facing the piano, but my computer is off to the side, and so especially when I was in the months when I was teaching all online, I was starting to notice some serious neck pain. And I bet if I had videotaped myself, you probably would have seen a little bit of this, right? Yeah. And that I was moving from that position. So that's a really cool thing. I like that exercise. I see Motif Music Studios says, loving this. I use an OT tool called Tools to Grow, with students that have amazing movement slides. So, okay. And Amy says she's an owl. Teehee. You should say woohoo, or what does the owl? Woot! Woot woot. I was like, what does the owl say? What does the fox say? Sorry. I can't help it. So the first one was breathing, and then practicing mindful movement, and just being sure that you're aware in how you're moving your body, especially at the piano, the way you're moving your neck, the way you're moving your rib cage, and just building awareness into that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we play, this is sort of something when I do teach technique, which is not very often, but I'm teaching it more now because of the pain that I have. I'm like, I've got to make sure I'm teaching that, even though it's more creative skills that I'm doing. Is that we play with our whole body, right? Mm-hmm. Not just our arms. So it makes sense that if our body is tense or, just a bit stationary and not freely moving, then that's going to affect our playing. If all we care about is playing the piano, it's still worth being mindful of our bodies and our breath, for sure.
Oh, that's so great. And I'll bring up one other thing that you had said. You had said something about when we're playing just for fun, which teachers, I want to know right now, have you set aside a time this week to play for fun? If you have, say, yes, I'm playing for fun. If you haven't, that is your homework. um, like when I play for fun and you just kind of lose yourself, right? And you're playing stuff that like you already know well, you're not like practicing, right? I move a lot. And I didn't realize this until like somebody had videotaped me. And I was like, man, I'm all over the place. And like, but it was good. Like it was good movement. And I felt really free when I was playing. And then like conversely, like if I'm trying to learn a new piece, because I know a lot of people were talking about this in the thread from yesterday, saying, their injuries, came from when they were in undergrad or graduate. And, they're trying to play the Pathétique Sonata or something where, it's heavy stuff and it's really difficult. So, that's when the tension creeps in and, all that nasty stuff. I see, Pete says that he's playing right now. Awesome.
Wow.
That's great, Pete.
That's multitasking.
Multitasking at its finest. I just have to pause for a second and say hey to Donna Hinckley, because Donna is amazing, and she was in our branding boot camp last year, and I love that she gets to join us live today, because, yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's a Piano Pivot Live. Oh, yes. So cool. Hi, Donna.
So cool. So cool. Elizabeth said that she hasn't improvised just for me in a couple of weeks, readopting the homework. Okay, yay. Awesome.
Yay.
Okay, so are we ready for tip number 3?
Yeah, let's do tip number 3.
Let's do it. Okay. This is the important one. This is the really important one. Here we go.
Yeah. So what we just talked about, steps 1 and 2, try and do those for 30 days. And I know for me, you're all the same. You're teachers. Remember who I'm talking to here. We have a billion things on our minds. And so for me, if I want to get something done, I have to put it in my calendar with a little reminder. Yeah. So I have to literally put in my calendar, do yoga today. But our steps are to breathe and practice mindful movement. So we're going to maybe set like 3 or 4 alarms for during the day, just to go off daily. If they're not going to, don't want to disturb you during your lessons, but just to remind you, okay, breathe and just think about how you're moving. And that's all you have to do. Try it for 30 days. And I think you will feel better. I know that I do the same thing every day, and I wouldn't stop it if someone paid me.
Yeah. I think that's great because you can put into practice those 2 things into practice and just do it for a couple of days and not really see any results yet. But it's just like piano. It takes practice and time. I know, like you just said that you have yoga like literally on your calendar. I do too. I actually have it blocked off on my calendar, and so that it's like there. Okay, so I know that I'm going to do the yoga, and then I talking about mindful movement, one of the ways that I've incorporated this more into my day, because a lot of my day is spent sitting at this desk, and I'm a very focused person. So and I want to achieve things like big time. But so I can find myself sitting here for 3 hours without getting up, which is totally ridiculous.
I'm just speaking my language. Do you forget to have meals? I forget meals.
I used to meal forgetting was definitely a thing, but this year I got really serious about it. I was like, you have to eat. So I actually have lunch like written into the thing. But what for me, I have found that I actually have to have reminders to get up and move around. So to get out of this chair and to let me see if I can remember. Yeah, myofascial trigger point massage therapist. That's a mouthful. Shout out to Joe Loading because he's amazing. He gave me like a series of exercises and gentle stretches to do like throughout the day. Mm-hmm. Right. So like just so nice. I would get up and like do some things for my hips so that I don't like exacerbate the problem. And then what's kind of nice is that when you're doing that movement, you can think about breathing right then. So it's like you get both of them.
Yeah, the breath helps the movement as well, and the movement helps. It's that connection between our breathing and our body. The oxygen coming in helps us to move usually in a certain way. For instance, if you're doing, this from yoga, if you're doing a certain move and it's really stuck and you sort of like, oh, normally I can get a bit further than this, in terms of a stretch. Mm-hmm. If you use your breath work to get into it, you can actually move further. So your breath is like such a powerful tool.
Yeah.
to take oxygen into all of the areas of your body, not just your lungs, essentially. Even though technically it's your lungs, but you're bringing oxygen flowing through all those different areas, and
Yeah.
do some more of this.
Do some of this. Yeah. I love it. So these are those, I love those tips. And we have some other things that we're going to chat about here. Teachers, if you liked those tips, give us your hashtag takeaways below and let us know what you found most valuable and what you are going to put into practice. Now, here's something that I think is super cool. And you guys want to stick around for this because, that I love to talk about marketing on this broadcast. And I just have to say that Ruth is a flipping genius when it comes to marketing. Like, your marketing is so cool. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this, but before we get to that, if you guys would like to learn more about how you can use yoga to help unleash the pain that you might have from playing or teaching, I want you to check out Ruth's blog. Tell them a little bit about what they're going to find on this blog.
Right. So this is it's essentially something I do a live stream similar to you I do it every couple of weeks. And I did one of these to talk to my students and my members about the course and what it entails and how it's going to help people to relax in general, as well as at the piano, basically what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But I also had a taster of about 3 minutes of one of the sessions so that you can sort of see exactly what it is, give it a go, see if it's something you might want to carry on. So whether you might take that and be interested in the course, or whether you just take that 3 minutes and go, that's good for me, I'm just going to do that. You can be my guest and go have a look.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. It was a really great read. So if anybody would like to get a hold of that, here's what you're going to do. You're going to drop the word Ruth below, and the Savvy Sara bot is going to reach out to you on Facebook Messenger, and she's going to send you a link to Ruth's blog so you can read more about this exercise. It's really cool. I think you're going to like it a lot. And for those of you who might be watching on YouTube or Instagram, if you just go to savvymusicstudio.com/Ruth, it'll redirect you to her blog. So it'll be a really easy way for you to check out her stuff there. I see Amy's putting Ruth down there, and so is Janelle. Carol says she's going to be more mindful of her breathing during her stretching exercises. Elizabeth is that she's going to get back to playing just for her and not gig music. I love that. This is really good.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we got some great hashtags in there. Yeah, so Donna also shares that, when she was teaching online, she was sitting in the same spot for 3 to 4 hours. Wow. Yeah. This is interesting. Her osteopath recommended putting materials she needed for each lessons on the other side of the room so that she would actually have to get up and move to get the materials and come back.
That's a good idea.
That's genius.
Like that.
That's really smart.
You know what's funny? What I just realized just then is, in fact, I could even... Probably not going to notice, but I have a standing desk. My camera's going to go slowly up.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm super ultra jealous now because that's on my wish list for fall. Look at this. Hi, Ruth. Bye. See ya.
But this is my waiting for my microphone to come back down. But I don't have the same thing for my piano. I arguably spend a lot more time at my computer than my piano, but it's just funny that we have ergonomic chairs. We have, standing desk for the computer, but the piano is. I have a handmade piano bench that has no cushioning.
Yeah.
I have one of these, which
is
actually pretty great. It's very ugly
but they
not
work.
Very fun looking, but they're great.
They work. Yeah. Oh, I think that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. We have all this others what was the fancy word? Ergonomic things that we, for our offices and desks, but it's really hard to make a piano ergonomic. So we have to work a little bit more mindfully with that. So, okay. So I wanted to talk about the project that you have coming up because I think it's the coolest thing. And I've put Ruth's information down below. You have to... Please promise me if you've watched this, you're going to go follow her at Piano Picnic Official on Instagram because the videos and posts that you've been putting out lately, are like life-giving. How to describe them? You've been called on a mission by, is it Tori Amos?
I know, it's hard to believe.
And you're on this mission to, like, that pianists are in pain all over the world and you're going to help them. And the videos that you've created are just like genius marketing, and they're so much fun to watch. I've literally watched each one at least 2 or 3 times.
I love that. That's so cool. Thank you. I love it. I think about all the other fun people I know when I'm doing this sort of stuff, and I'm like, they're gonna like it. But I yeah, I've marketed a few courses now. I think this is my 5th course that I'm releasing, my 5th paid course, and I've done enough promotions, and every time I think this, I never enjoy the promotion side of it, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
And this time I just thought, I was like, oh, I gotta make sales videos. Write a sales script and all that sort of thing. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have some fun and get my husband to follow me around with a camera.
He's good. He's a good sport. I like that.
Yeah. I had so much fun, and literally I thought it was going to take us ages, but I storyboarded the whole thing out. It's actually 6 episodes. So we've done, there's one to come out today and then 2 more. And I just storyboarded the whole thing out. I knew exactly what shots we needed. It took us like 3 hours to film the whole thing. And obviously quite a bit of time for me to edit it into short videos. But I've just had so much fun with it. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
It should be like this all the time.
It should be. And so tell us a little bit about, tell us about the course that you've created. Like, you teamed up with somebody else to create this course. It's called, remind me of the title.
Yoga for Pianists. So it is what it says on the tin. And it's, because I enjoy yoga, obviously. That's why I decided to do this course, because it worked for me. But I am not a yoga instructor, and nor would I claim to be. Mm-hmm. So I actually very literally was like, I want to take this, my favorite instructor from Raglan, and I want to package her up and give that to people that can't come to these classes.
So cool.
She Bexy Towel, she's part of a local cooperative called The Space in Raglan, where there's a bunch of really talented yoga instructors. She's I think my favorite, because she has this ability to make you feel like she always provides the different levels for everyone. So you never feel like you have to like get into a movement that you can't necessarily make your body do. You always feel like there's an option for me, so I don't have to feel stink about it. And the other thing that I really love about Bexy's teaching is that she has this beautiful way of making metaphors, like visual metaphors, for the way you move your body. And it works for me because I'm such a visually minded person, that it helps me to get my body into these positions when she uses this beautiful. There's one she uses, she talks about dropping, the movement is bringing your head down to the earth, but you sort of want to slowly lower your spine from the base. And she uses the metaphor of dropping a pearl, or not dropping, but like gradually lowering the pearl necklace onto the table. So you imagine the pearls going down one by
one. Yeah, so cool.
And just stuff like that. I'm like, she gets me. So she amazingly agreed to come on board, and I worked with her and talked about all the problems that I have as a pianist, all the movements that we do, all the habits we get into. And she created this course specifically for us. And it's really exciting for me because I haven't seen anything else like this. And she did a really amazing job. So it's essentially 6 routines. 3 of them are real quick, easy get in, get out. And 3 of them are longer for one for piano prep, maybe before you are going to sit at the piano for a long time, before you're going to do your teaching for the day. One is just a general maintenance, just to make sure that you're limbering up your body. Maybe you do that a couple times a week.
Yeah.
And one is a recovery routine. So if you have sat for a long amount of time and you get up and you want to just, limber up your body for the rest of the day, or you're feeling a bit stiff, there's that one there. So
that sounds
really
amazing.
Excited.
That is like the coolest project. I love the idea of like taking my favorite yoga teacher and packaging them up and giving them to people. So Ron and Abby, if I could package you guys up and no, this is so cool. So it sounds like this is something that piano teachers could use. And do you think there are other music teachers that might be interested in that as well? Or I think voice teachers play a lot of piano too, and they're often sitting at the piano. So anybody who's, playing an instrument, I think can benefit from this.
For sure. And I've made my husband also, he does a bit of yoga as well. He's a drummer, and he's found it useful doing these routines, because he also, drumming, you lean forward, but more than that, he's not a teacher, so he's not at the drums all day, but he is at the computer all day. So I just think in general we're leaning forward on our devices, forward,
doing that owl neck. Yes. Yeah. So this is so cool. So it sounds like this is something that teachers can use like throughout the day. They can use it like before and after. And tell us when this course is being launched.
Yes, and I also just want to point out that I think as well for students, I have, for the younger kids, even just introducing them to a couple of moves at the end of the lesson if you have time. I know we don't have time for everything, but my 5-year-old niece also does kids yoga. So it's definitely, it's super cute. It's definitely, the kids can get into it, and just putting those habits in their day as well for them to take back to their parents. Send them back to their parents a little bit chilled out from having done a tiny little yoga session. How are they going to love you for that?
A lot.
So where can I get it? At the moment, it's coming out on the 1st of September for you guys. Yeah, it's going to be the morning of the 2nd down here, and I'm going to be doing a live launch party.
Fun.
Yeah, always love to have a party. I'm going to be in my 80s aerobics get up from the promo videos as well.
Oh, excellent. So we get to see it live.
Yeah, for sure. So you can, if you want, you can sign up to my updates list, which is my.pianopicnic.com/yoga-list. I didn't give you this link, so I can add it afterwards.
Sure, yeah.
Or alternatively, just go to my Facebook page and start following, and you'll see.
Wonderful. Give me that. What was that address one more time?
So it's my.pianopicnic.com.
And then yoga list.
Yoga-list.
I had actually found this on my own, if I'm going to be honest, because I just was like poking around. So this, because I was looking at all your cool stuff. So this is the place that you want to go if you want to get information about that. And hey, Ruth, do you have like 3 more minutes for us? I know you have to teach some lessons here.
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay, wonderful. Because I thought everything's getting messy here. Okay, so I thought, let's do a real quick, like rapid recap of everything that we did here in like a couple of minutes. Are you ready?
Okay.
I'll help you. Don't worry. Okay. All right, so we're here today with Ruth Power to talk about avoiding physical pain as a music teacher, because we are sitting at that piano for a really long time. You can get stiff, and, it's just not fun to be in pain. So, Ruth, thank you so much for being here, and you had 3 tips for us. You ready to rapid recap these, guys?
Rapidly. Number 1.
Here we go.
You're going to check in with your breath whenever you can remember it. If you can't remember it, send a little alarm to yourself so that you can just take a deep breath, breathe in, raise those shoulders up where they're probably already up by your ears, and breathe out. Relax the shoulders back and down. It's going to work wonders.
So do that periodically throughout the day. I love it. And number 2.
Number 2 is to practice mindful movement. It's what we do in yoga, but you can actually just do it throughout your day by just paying attention to the way you move your body as you do various activities. It's huge in making sure that you are just bringing breath as well to the areas of the body that you are moving, and to avoid straining yourself with a random movement as well.
Yeah, so watch those movements, and hey, be mindful of getting up and moving. Like if you're stationary for a while, right? Don't stay at that desk for 3 hours. Don't be like me. Okay, number 3.
Yes, breathe and move. Do steps 1 and 2 for 30 days. So make sure you put it in your calendar if that's what you need to do in order to make it an important thing that you actually do. And then you're going to get the benefits of just feeling a bit more limber and a bit more relaxed as well.
This is awesome. So like Ruth is so generous. She has put together a blog post that has more tips about how you can use yoga as a music teacher to like unravel all of those like kinks and, things and just make you feel better. So if you want to check out her blog, here's where you're going to be able to go. Go to savvymusicstudio.com/Ruth, and that it's going to forward you to her website. It's Piano Picnic, which I think is like the coolest name ever. And if you want to get, and then tell us quickly, you've got a course coming up. Tell us about your course.
Yes, Yoga for Pianists is coming out on September 1st. And it's yoga routines, especially for the bodies and problems and strains of the pianist.
It's so cool. And if you want to get information about that course, you can head on over to my.pianopicnic.com/yoga-list. And it's going to be really, really awesome. So Ruth, thank you so much for being here. This has just been so fun. I feel like we should say like namaste.
Yes.
Because this has just been so much fun.
So much fun. I tried to come up with a musical version of namaste. I was going to be like namaste B, C, D, E, F, G, but I didn't.
Didn't go there.
Thank you so much for having me today.
This has been so fun. Make sure to follow her at Piano Picnic and Piano Picnic Official on Instagram. Go check out those amazing videos that I talked about because they're just so fun. And yeah, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you being a part of the broadcast today, Ruth. You don't hang up. You stick around for just 1 second. But hey, everybody else, we're going to say goodbye. So please, I see people saying, thank you, Ruth and Sara. Yay. We'll see you guys next week. In the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because there is no teacher in the world that is quite like you. And we think you are pretty dang awesome. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.